The duty of a father is not to have sexual contact with their daughters. That role of the first man in a girl's life is not about sleeping with her. Why it happened continues to remain a mystery that would probably never be understood. For there is no excuse for such psychopathic and unholy acts of the highest saints. While a number of fathers still chooses to ruin the life of their own daughters by defiling them firsthand, remains a myth. But I'm saying it's not normal and will never be. So whoever is engaging in such spiteful and abominating acts needs help immediately. Not all of these pedophiles get caught. And that is why a podcast like this is necessary to remind the world that such acts does exist. Look around you, it might just be someone close to you. But here are 10 out of the many Nigerian fathers that had incestuous relationship with their own biological daughters. My name is Rukaya Alamin and welcome to the Top Crime Show. Jafar Hamza in Oyo State. I don't understand how a father can sleep with his own daughter and still deny her unborn child. It's funny that he even argues on the number of times he has had carnal knowledge of his daughter, saying it was only 4 times and so it wasn't enough to get her pregnant. He also stated that she had had numerous boyfriends and is certain that the child was not his. Jafar added that his son caught them twice in bed but only asked for money and left. The 20-year-old daughter is very much old enough to know the difference between right and wrongs and know the difference between a father and a boyfriend. However, she chooses to look away until she became pregnant. Jafar reminded the authorities that his daughter was not a virgin when she came to live with him in February 2018 and that he was sure she had had sex with many other men before and after him. He was, however, charged with the crime. Joseph Sunday from Akwa Ibom State. As a father, you are only allowed to train your daughters and lead them in the right direction, especially when it comes to boys. But in Joseph's theory, he wanted to test his sexual abilities with not one, but 2 of his daughters aged 9 and 13 years. Claiming his wife left him after a bitter divorce and relocated to Rivers State, saying he had since been taking care of his daughters ever since his wife left him. But I don't recall anybody saying sex is part of the fatherly package. Joseph, who was in his late 40s, had since been having sex with his daughters in the same house, same room, and on the same bed. More of a threesome. What kind of father teaches such immorality? The most interesting part of all this now was that he caught his 13-year-old daughter on bed with her boyfriend. He got jealous and beat her mercilessly. She got angry and spilled the beans. But come to think of it, what right does he have to question his underage daughter's sex life after disvirgining her himself? Sadly, the 9-year-old daughter believed she had fallen in love with her father and loved every bit of the time she had spent on bed with her own father. I say she needs help. He was later nabbed by the police while his daughters continued to receive medical help. Eze Chukuma. Most husbands simply marry another wife after the death or divorce of their previous wife. However, a 55-year-old pedophile decided it was easier to rape almost all of his daughters after the death of his wife. Eze brought back 2 of his daughters from the village to join his other 2 daughters in his house in Lagos, but only to defile them in a way nobody could have imagined. The youngest of his daughter, aged 16 years, stated that her own father had been sexually abusing them since February 2008 after their mother had died, saying he has countlessly raped them for a period of 9 years before he was finally caught. Her elder sister, whom was living with the father initially, had run away from home because she couldn't put up with her father's demands. But on reaching Lagos, She and two other of her elder sisters had since been threatened and made to take turns in fulfilling the sick desires of the man she calls father. He was thankfully remanded in 2017 and was taken to the Kirikiri prison for further investigations. Savyashima Titus from Nasarawa State. Just one question before I start on this one. How do you connect a relationship of a child that is about to give birth to her own father's child? A grandchild, uncle, grandfather? Well, I'm just as confused. Many ignorant and clueless pedophiles think losing their wives is an okay reason to have sex with their biological daughters. As so in this case, 44-year-old Vyashma lost his wife Cecilia during the birth of their daughter Mary in 2001. And so he decided to make his own daughter Mary his sex slave, claiming she looks just like her mother and was drawn and tempted by her beauty and shape. How pathetic. He couldn't bear to see another man eating the fruit of his labor, he said. He shamelessly continues to sleep with his teenage daughter until she was 5 months pregnant. It was already too late to abort it as he would have wanted. But his luck soon ran out, and he was arrested and locked up. I hope someone throws the key in a river or something. Gabriel Ogba. Only a father from hell can possibly commit such abomination, raping all three of his daughters aged 20, 22, and even his 13 years old youngest daughter. But the bitter truth about this was that he's been doing it for years before he was finally caught. Gabriel was confronted by his wife Tope after finding out from her youngest daughter, who confided in her teacher at school. The teacher narrated that she found the little girl crying, and after a series of confrontations, she told her that her father had been sleeping with her. Almost unbelievable. Upon hearing the allegations, their mother confronted all three of her daughters and confirmed the news no mother would ever want to believe. When she tried going to the authorities, Gabriel took his wife out and attempted to burn her alive before she was gracefully saved by bystanders and a human rights activist. He was arrested and charged with incest and the attempted murder of his wife. He remains locked up in the Kirikiri prison. Shebun Durajaye from Ikorodu, Lagos. On January 2018, the pathetic pedophile of a father was arrested for raping his 16-year-old daughter after she confided in him about her uncle raping her while she was staying with him after the death of her stepmother. Instead of the protection and security the young teenager badly wanted from her father, she got the opposite. In a case of double rape, one can only imagine the tremendous pain the 12-year-old would have endured after being raped at such a young age. During the years of her sexual abuse, the young teenager had already aborted 3 pregnancies for her father until she was able to get help from the authorities, in which the 2 brothers were arrested and charged. I hope they never make it alive. Emmanuel Udo. In his desperate attempt to make this look norm, the 44-year-old man stated that he had slept with his daughter several times after divorcing her mother, saying there is absolutely nothing wrong in doing so because he brought her into this world and has been taking care of her ever since. Sounds like a desperate sugar daddy playing a game of tit for tat, reminding us that there is nothing wrong with it because he doesn't ejaculate in her and she would never get pregnant. So there is nothing unusual about it. However, myself and many others think it's only a sociopath that would tag the word numb to such sacrilege. And the authorities thought the same too, and he was arrested immediately. The story is very much similar to that of a Nigerian-based Ghanaian, Age man. He was caught having sex with his 14-year-old daughter by his neighbors after they heard her cries. When confronted, he simply said they should let him do whatever he wants with his daughter because she is his property and has every right to enjoy her because he gave birth to her. His neighbors, however, contacted the authorities, and during investigation, the teenage girl cried out saying her father always threatens to kill her if she ever tells anyone. Mr. Nwandu from Lagos State. This is one of the most devastating and heartbreaking stories I had to contend with during the course of my research. She was just 9 months when she got raped by her own biological father. After his wife, Mrs. Nwandu, stepped out of the house for some home shopping, the useless 45-year-old pedophile that does not deserve to answer the name Daddy raped his innocent little baby right after her mother stepped out of the house, leaving her in the care of her father. A neighbor heard the prolonged cries of the little baby and decided to peep through the window, only to be confronted with her worst fears. She reported the incident to the child's mother, and upon changing her diaper, it was all bloody. Mr. Nwandu was quickly arrested and charged with child rape. Olusegun Adefemi in Ikorodu, Lagos. A child is anything but hardly a liar when it comes to accusations of sexual assault. 43-year-old Adefemi was said to have been having sex with all 3 of his daughters aged 7, 5, and 3. It's an act only God can judge. The 3-year-old described her feelings by saying, and I quote, "Daddy always hurt me here," pointing directly to her vagina. The other 2 daughters also admitted to being sexually assaulted by their own father on numerous occasions before he was finally caught and arrested by law enforcement. The unknown. This case was a high-profile one that names cannot even be disclosed. Imagine your entire blood relatives knowing your father has raped and impregnated you, and yet no one is willing to help, including your own mother. As far as the authorities were concerned, the mother was a suspect in this case because she took her daughter to take an abortion. The victim cried out saying she was first raped by her father at age 10 after drugging her food one evening. She recalled that one morning she woke up and saw blood and some unusual liquids on her underwear. She confided in her mother, who told her to keep quiet and shouldn't tell anyone. She had since been molested and raped within the space of 4 to 5 years by her father. She insisted that her mother knew about it, her grandparents, her brother, and even her pastor knew about it. Yet no one seemed to take any interest regarding the despicable act nor her condition until the Behind Bars NGO came to her rescue. She continues to receive medical help while the NGO advises the Delta State government to set up a sexual assault help center where victims of rape and other sex crimes can get immediate help and counseling for free as the court continues to pursue the case in the best way they can. If you or any family member or loved one or even a stranger you come across is being treated or talked to in an unusual manner similar to this content, you can confide in someone you trust and get help or simply report to the police. Until then, be on the lookout. You just might be living with a pedophile father, uncle, or anyone. It is very wrong to have sexual contact with your father, mother, grandmother, or any blood siblings. Rape is not okay, and incest is certainly not enough. Be sure to subscribe and feel free to share the podcast, like and drop your comments. My name is Gaya Lamin, and see you next week on the Top Crime Show.